Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadramai. Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtatara Satashi Srimati Divine Grace Abhay Chanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan Ki Jai Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 17, text number 32. Chapter titled, Marj Prithu becomes angry at the earth. Nunam bateshe bateshasya samihitam janais. Oh, okay, so we're going for 33, sorry. Sargadiyosyanu runadi saktibir. Sargadiyosyanu runadi saktibir. Dravya kriyakaraka chetanatmabhihi. Tasmai samunada niruddha saktaye. Nama parasmai purushasya vedase. Nama parasmai purushasya vedase. Sargadiyosyan nurunadi saktibir. Dravya kriyakaraka chetanatmabhi. Tasmai samunnada niruddha saktaye. Nama parasmai purushaya vedase. Sargadiyosyan nurunadi saktibir. Dravya kriyakaraka chetanatmabhihi. Tasmai samunnada niruddha saktaye. Nama parasmai purushaya vedase. Shaktaye. Namah Parasmai Vedase. Sarga Adi, creation, maintenance and dissolution. Yaha, one who, Asya, of this material world, Anurunadi, causes, Shakti Bihi, by his own potencies, Dravya, physical elements, Kriya, senses, Karaka, controlling demigods, Chetana, intelligence, Atmabihi, consisting of false ego, Tasmai, unto him, Samunada, manifest, Niruddha, potential, Shaktaye, one who possesses these energies, Namaha, obeisances, Parasmai, unto the transcendental, Purushaya, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vedase, unto the cause of all causes. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Please repeat after me. My dear Lord, by your own potencies, you are the original cause of the material elements, as well as the performing instruments, the senses, the workers of the senses, the controlling demigods, the intelligence and the ego, as well as everything else. By your energy, you manifest this entire cosmic creation, maintain it, and dissolve it. Through your energy alone, everything is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. You are therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport: all activities begin with the creation of the total energy, the Mahat Tattva. Then by the agitation of the three gunas, the physical elements are created, as well as the mind, ego, and the controllers of the senses. All of these are created one after another by the inconceivable energy of the Lord. In modern electronics, a mechanic may, by pushing one button, set off an electric chain reaction by which so many actions are carried out one after another. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead pushes the button of creation, and different energies create the material elements and various controllers of the physical elements, and their subsequent interactions follow the inconceivable plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam bhangam langayate gyam yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun Dindam Paramanam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. Hare Krishna. So we have Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi. Bhumi Devi is praying to Prithu Maharaj, because Prithu Maharaj is appearing before her like who? Yamaraj himself, ready to destroy her, because she wasn't providing the required resources for the citizens. So we hear how she is now glorifying Prithu Maharaj as if he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. But we need to understand that what Bhagavatam has taught us so far is that, and what Acharya has mentioned, is that Prithu Maharaj is the Saktivesh avatar of the Lord. That he is given empowerment through the Palana Shakti of the Lord, to give that same Shakti to all the living entities. In other words, to rule over the citizens and give them protection. So here, Bhumi Devi is recognizing Prithu Maharaj as the representative of the personality of Godhead. And so in glorifying Prithu Maharaj, she is recognizing his position as Krishna representing himself on earth to be able to perform the necessary functions so the living entities can come home back to Godhead eventually. Because you know the position in which the earth was left after Vena was that no one was able to perform their prescribed duties properly. Vena himself was preventing sacrifices from being performed. As soon as you touch the Brahminical culture, Vedic culture is destroyed. So, as soon as Vena had been dethroned and killed, so Prithu Maharaj's position was to re-establish the culture again, provide the system and the framework so that everyone can perform their Varna and Ashrama duties properly. And to be able to do that, Mother Earth needs to give the necessary resources. And we often underestimate Mother Earth. We underestimate the process in which Krishna gives us to be able to benefit and live in this material world. Unfortunately, because of our so-called education in modern science, we are not given the intelligence, or we're not given rather the knowledge to understand that this earth is under the control of a higher living entity. We are taught that the earth is just simply a bunch of chemicals. What does it allow us to do? It allows us to exploit and enjoy material nature without any sense of guilt, remorse, repentance, without any concern for the future, past. Anyway, we're a bunch of chemicals. Anyway, we'll continue to be a bunch of chemicals. We here exist once. After that, we disappear. What's the big deal? So we irresponsibly try to exploit material nature. And that all stems from this very simple fact of envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Krishna himself can manufacture this material world, he can maintain the material world and he can destroy it at his will. We are envious of that because we also want to enjoy to that capacity, but we can't. It's not possible. Just like fish cannot live out of water, the living entity cannot become the dominator. Rather, it's always the predominated. It's always the servant. It's never the served. Krishna is the enjoyer. Because we are the energy of the Lord. And it's Krishna's grace and it's actually His mercy that He's allowing us rebellious living entities to be able to try and come back to Him through a rectification process called material nature. This whole world is created to somewhat bring us to the understanding that we won't be able to enjoy separately from Krishna. Okay, so naturally it's from Krishna all of these energies come. It is a natural fact. What does he say? He says, even in fact, it's mentioned here, the controller of the senses, demigods. He says, Aham Adihi Devanam, that he is the original demigod. He is the one who was there before the demigods appeared, right? And Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, Matta Sarvam Pravartate, right? From me everything emanates. So then, unfortunately, because we do not see the original emanation, we don't give Krishna the credit. Because we are simply focused on what we can see, what we can feel. What is within our direct perception is what we accept as truth. If you perform an experiment where you close your eyes, right, you blindfold yourself and live your whole day, can you tell me the percentage of your day in which you won't be able to function? So sleeping is what? A quarter of everyone's day. Less, but okay, we'll just put it as that. Okay? So you can discount of that quarter of the day. Already you don't need your eyes for that. But sometimes people use that time to look at their phones and play and all that sort of stuff at night, right? They don't sleep. Anyway, put that aside. So then the other 3/4 of the day, how much are we dependent on our eyes? Can you tell? Practically the whole day we're dependent on the eyes. Because that's how we perceive the sense objects, and that's how we ratify whether it's for our sense enjoyment or not. We're so absorbed in our eyes. And with the other senses as well, hearing, touching, tasting. That's how we perceive, that's how we enjoy. Right? But there are certain things you can't understand. What about before your senses were manufactured? Can you perceive those moments? Before you were conceived within the womb, can you perceive? Probably in another body, but not in that same situation or environment, right? Yeah? The point I'm trying to make is that you can't understand the point of your origin in this material world. It's not possible. You're not given the memory power, the remembrance, the intelligence to do so. And therefore we discount Krishna. But we should actually accept those words of people who were there at that time, those who were manufactured by Krishna at that time. The Vedas, right? As soon as Krishna appeared, from his breathing came the Vedas. And the Vedas are describing very carefully how this material world was created. We have Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. He knows exactly how this material universe is created. In fact, he's given the position to be able to perceive the spiritual world within his meditation, right? We've seen that in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, Prabhupada's giving the understanding that just how sometimes, we don't know how power comes to us. We just see the light is on. We just see the fan is on. We just see the air conditioner is on by pressing a button, right? Do you know how electricity travels? Do you know how it goes and hits each of these equipment? No, right? But all we know is you press the button, it charges, powers something, motor turns, and air comes out. Fan. Right? Same way material existence, material creation. By Krishna's energy, by Krishna's desire, by Krishna's will, the Mahatattva becomes agitated and by the 3 modes of nature, and it starts producing the physical elements, mind, ego, and the controller of the senses. So in other words, what does that mean? Even before we see the planet Earth, Bhumi Devi is saying, even before that Earth planet is revealed, manifest, the origin of the Earth planet, which is Bhumi Aponala, right? All of these elements, you can even just say it's just Earth. But of course, it's mentioned in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam that you have earth, water, fire, which is the predominating elements that create this material world. Then you have Vayu and you have ether. That's there. But these 3 are the most gross physical subjects that we can see. So, Bhumi Devi is making that point, that actually you are the one who initiated the existence of my planet, of me. You are the source. and I acknowledge that now. And now you want to produce resources? Okay, I'm ready to produce resources. But we're dealing with people. It's not just simply, machine work, like, you turn on power, motor works. When the motor works, then air works, then we feel cool. It's not like that. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with Bhumi Devi and you're dealing with Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj, as the representative of Godhead, is angry. So it's the duty of Bhumi Devi to pacify him. And the best way to pacify him is to glorify him. And explain that, now I understand your position. Okay? So here, specifically, the purport and translation are of very similar size. The translation is very big and the purport is also very big. So in the translation, Bhumi Devi is explaining that you are the original cause of the material elements, as well as the instruments, the senses, and the workers of the senses, the controlling demigods. So if you go back to the third canto, we've already touched on these things. We talked about how mind comes from the mode of passion, the mode of goodness produces the demigods, the mode of ignorance produces the senses, the sense objects, and then you have the Pancha Mahabhuta, the earth, water, fire, air, ether also being produced in this way. So you can see when each one of these come in contact with the glance of the Lord, time, potency, all of these things are manifest. So these three things, the instruments, the elements, and the controller of the senses are very important to understand. It is not just simply our desire that we are enjoying. It is by the sanction of the demigods, of course Krishna's sanction, then the sanction of the demigods, then the senses and the sense objects have to come together. By particular mode of nature we are enjoying. For some people, they may not be able to enjoy a particular object. What do they say? They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. Right? So not everything everyone will enjoy because of the combination of the modes and the desires that we had. Being forced by the modes to enjoy in a particular way. Don't forget. Our decisions in our past lives has put us in a position now where we are forced to enjoy our senses in a particular way because of our previous desires. Prabhupada gives the example of the apartment. You're only able to purchase an apartment with a set amount of money that you have. You cannot aim for a penthouse apartment if you don't have the money, right? Even though you may want to enjoy it, you can't. Yeah? Same thing with this body. You want to enjoy a body free from birth, or at least minimized birth, death, disease, old age like the demigods? Not possible in this body. Perform the activities and become qualified. Just like you have to earn enough money to get to the penthouse apartments, the top ones, right at the top of the building. You try to enjoy to the best of your ability there. Right? You need the right amount of money. In the same way, you need the right amount of results of your activities, your karma, to get to that body. So in the same way, you can understand, we are not the controllers. We are not able to enjoy separately from Krishna. Krishna is sanctioning these things through his material nature. And material nature is adding another layer of complexity, which is that the modes dictate what elements come in contact with us. The modes dictate what our senses can come in contact, right? In other words, our intelligence, mind, our thought process is covered by a particular set of modes, right? Why does a dog find the pleasure in being a dog? Why is it that the bird doesn't like to bark like a dog? The bird may like to bark like a dog, but it can't. It'll simply chirp like a bird, right? So it's forced. So here Krishna is the controller. It is by his potency we're still confined to a particular way of working and acting. But we're not able to understand. We don't want to accept it. So Bhumi Devi is Bhumi Devi is explaining this, that actually we are all under your control. By your energy you manifest this entire cosmic creation, maintain it and dissolve it. Again, I already touched on this one. Through your Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Krishna is the source of everything. through your energy alone, everything is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. Again, it's showing the superiority of Krishna. Have you noticed sometimes when you try to enjoy, the enjoyment you feel is nice, materially, right? You'll, go through, I don't know, movies or games or, electronics or something, relationships, outside you'll go and do something. But if you try to do again and again and again and again, what happens? It becomes boring. It becomes boring. And then you start to think, hey, but I was enjoying this before. It gave so much pleasure. But why is it happening like this now? Because Krishna is the controller. He's produced this material world in such a way that it is imperfect and temporary. It is temporary. So he's choosing to manifest and unmanifest that desire to enjoy and the so-called pleasure. He can choose to manifest and unmanifest. Right? So we're always in that position. But Krishna, he can enjoy however he likes. Krishna is not bound by these conditions. And that's what irritates us the most. That's what causes the envy of Krishna. Because we can't do it and he can do it, that disturbs us a lot. Then finally, you are therefore the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, Janmadi Yasyataha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Now, she's finished talking about how Krishna is the creator. And from next verse onwards, she'll talk about her relationship with Krishna. She'll start to talk about how he appeared as Varahadev and saved her from the bottom of the ocean. So she'll start now trying to appeal to the Lord based on their relationship through Prithu Maharaj. Because Prithu Maharaj is now assuming the position, being given the confidence and the empowerment by the Lord. He's assuming that position and now he's enacting chastisement of Mother Earth. So then she will continue to explain about Varahadev. So here you can take, whenever we talk about the creation of the material world, why do you think this is so important, understanding about the creation of the material world? Can anyone say? Why is it important to understand this sarga and visarga? The creation and the subsequent creation by Brahma. Why is it important to understand these things? Come on. By understanding this, we can understand supremacy of Krishna. Okay. Anything else? To develop love and appreciation for Krishna, yes, definitely. Then you understand Krishna, you can see Krishna, you can begin to see Krishna everywhere. Yes? Anything else? Our position, how insignificant we are, yes? Anything else? You're all correct. But something more. Uh-huh.
We can pray to various demigods to fulfill our expectations.
Yep.
But all these are sanctioned by the Krishna.
Yeah.
Unless the sanction of Krishna, no demigod fulfill your blessing, fulfill your expectation.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so by understanding material nature creation, you can understand the position of demigods. And that you can understand that actually it's not them that are providing the benefit, it's Krishna that's providing through them. They're simply his arms and legs. In other words, his instruments. Yes? Anyone else? Why? Prabhu? Why? What is the benefit? Why are we understanding material nature? Tell me. Come on. You know. Say something. Anything. Sorry, Prabhu? Grace of God. There's a higher power, and by his mercy we exist. Yes? Good? So you're all correct. Actually, I wasn't looking for an answer. You're all right. But the main point to understand here is that, does anyone remember what Prabhupada says about this? Which one of your answers matches Prabhupada's? Yes, bro. We can understand the supremacy of Krishna. I've read Prabhupada says that we can also develop our relationship with Krishna by understanding the material world. Say it again. Prison house? What context you're saying? This material world is a prison house and we have to get out? Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. Durga. Durga means one it's very difficult to overcome or cross. This material world is the only prison house that doesn't have metal bars. But it also has the 100% track rate of keeping the criminals inside. Yeah, that's the material world. You can understand that also. In context of today's verse, how can we understand? Why do we need the material world? Why do we need to understand this right now? Bhumi Devi is talking to Prithu Maharaj. What is the need for Bhumi Devi to talk about this? Can anyone explain? I mean, I already spoiled it to you, but you can try and remember. How come? Come on. Yeah. Yeah, Krishna's the controller, we're dependent on him, we need his help to get out. Yep. He is the one that provides the resources, he's the controller, right? And so this whole pastime, it is a pastime. Bhumi Devi is showing us that she may have not recognized Prithu Maharaj's position, and now she's recognizing it, and what she's doing to rectify herself so that she can pacify Prithu Maharaj and provide what's needed for society. And in that process, she's explaining how Prithu Maharaj is Shakshat Dharitvena, direct representative of Krishna. Yeah? Okay. Alright, another question. How is it that we need to understand, what do we benefit from understanding about how particularly the elements are formed? We can just say it just comes from Krishna. What do we benefit from understanding this technical detail? Do we need to understand this technical detail? Right? Some of us would have read Bhagavatam, come across this section and just looked at the same paragraph again and again, nothing understands, and you just continue going. Do we need to study this? Do we need to understand this? What do you think? Because we're practically whole of Bhagavatam is full of prayers like this, discussions about this, about how material. Can anyone remember how many times until now have we heard about the Mahatattva, the modes of nature, the senses coming from the modes of nature's agitation by the Lord? How many times have we come across Krishna as the maintainer, the creator and the destroyer? How many times have we come across this? But sometimes when we read, we just just continue reading, just let me get over it. So why should we understand this? What benefit do we get from understanding this? To get released from the material bodies. Yes. Prabhu?
It's so complex.
Uh-huh.
You can understand how great Krishna is.
Yep.
Each and every element, we actually hear about it. We will know the potency of Krishna.
Yep.
It's not cheap thing.
Yep. Yeah, he says that, right? It's just simply a spark of his splendor. If Krishna's spark of his splendor is this, and we say that the sun, for example, is the emanation of the effulgence of Krishna, just like a particle of effulgence, smaller than a particle of effulgence. Just imagine how effulgent Krishna would be, is rather, right? We are not independent of Krishna. Yes, yeah, we're completely dependent on Krishna, correct? Yeah? Anything else? Why do we benefit from the... So I talked about why is it important to understand this knowledge of material nature and everything. Why do we need to know the details, right? It's said so many times in Bhagavatam, it should be stuck in the head now, right? Material nature is particularly manifested in a particular way. What benefit do we come to understanding the modes of nature, the senses, the sense object, the instruments? Do we need to understand this detailed knowledge? So Prabhu's already mentioned, it helps us understand the complexities. How it's even beyond us, but Krishna is able to manage it. But Krishna's managing it is just simply, Krishna doesn't have to worry about it. It's just one of his energies. He just lets it, by his will it happens. He doesn't need to think extraneously about it. While we have to think, today's work, I need to earn this much amount of money, I need to pay off this bill, everything. We put so much energy into, making sure our day works, making sure the month works, making sure we survive. How can I secure my position? Krishna doesn't have to think anything like that. He just simply enjoys. But just see, by his enjoyment, how this material world is created. He doesn't even need to lift a finger. Just see how great Krishna is. So we can surrender more and more. So just like Prabhu mentioned, to develop our love for Krishna. Yes. So now, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear both. Not just the pastimes of the Lord, but we also hear about material nature and the difficulties of material nature also. Right? Because we need to understand that we have to get out of here. We should not get complacent, simply thinking that it's fine, I can continue in this material world, just listening about Krishna's pastimes and everything like that. In our neophyte stage, that will just simply lead to sadhya. It will lead us to taking Krishna's pastimes cheaply, not understanding the nature of the material world and how to get out without preaching about Krishna consciousness. So there's another reason why we need to understand the details of creation. One point you have to understand about creation is that it helps us, I'm going to borrow your points, it helps us understand Krishna's position. It helps us understand our position. It helps us understand how complicated material nature is. But more importantly, with this detail, you develop faith in Krishna. How many times have we grown up in our respective cultures trying to understand what the source of creation is? Right? If you try to understand who is the Supreme, has anyone given you direct knowledge? What is he like? What does he do? Who is he? What color is he? Who are his associates? Where does he live? What does he do? How does he create this material world? Nothing is given out there. Nothing. If anything at all, it's just vague knowledge. Very vague knowledge. Vague knowledge to the extent people now use their logic to try and misconstrue the meaning to enjoy material nature. Isn't that what they did with the Vedas? Buddha had to come down. Right? But you see, Srimad Bhagavatam gives direct knowledge. Straightforward knowledge. This is how it's created. From Krishna comes all of these incarnations, then the Purusha, in the Purusha avatars. From them, material nature is manifested. And this is how it starts step by step by step. And in the first canto, if you read, and in other sections, you read how the yogis reverse that process and relieve themselves from material bondage. Right? You read about Yudhishthira Maharaj sitting in the forest and how he lets his body go. How? And Dhritarashtra does the same thing by merging the earth into water, water into fire, fire into air, air into ether, ether into the mind, mind into the ego, right? Intelligence into the ego, then ego into this, then one by one, all the senses, they go backwards. And naturally it's mentioned, then he attained liberation or he went back to Godhead. So with this technical knowledge, there are yogis who used it, reverse engineered through the process of guidance from the Vedas and went back to Godhead and achieved liberation that way. That's how powerful this knowledge is. And we use this knowledge to teach others, to give them confidence of what we're preaching, Krishna consciousness. Because this is fact. But our problem is if we just say Krishna is the origin, Krishna is the original source of everything. He is the creator, maintainer, destroyer. Do we have that strength of faith just to accept that based on fact? Just based on that? So Krishna is now giving us as much as we can understand about the creation of material existence. With that, we develop more confidence that we can, somehow or other use our intelligence to wrap around and understand to some extent. And yes, okay, yeah, definitely. Understanding this, Krishna is definitely the controller. We can see through this, we can see the modes of nature, how they interact. We have some indication when we perceive in this material world, okay, now we accept this. Okay? So with this knowledge of the material nature, we develop more and more faith in our process of bhakti. How many of us, when you come to Krishna consciousness and hear about cosmology, how many of you just become completely awestruck? Right? You think they explain something in school, astronomy, whatsoever. Just a couple of balls floating in the middle of the universe, and they're in a particular orbit, and they're stuck around the sun, and and we happen to be Earth in a particular way. But then when you read about cosmology given by Bhagavatam, how it explains living entities on other planetary systems, explains their conditions of living, explains how they're positioned within the world, how far they are from our planet, what happens, what activities. Did you know in Jambudvip itself, in all of the islands, Varnashram Dharma continues in different names? It's mentioned, 5th canto of Bhagavatam. This Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra and Brahmanas exist in different names across all of those rings or planetary systems in Jambudvip. Do you know that? Bhagavatam explains. Do you know there's a big tree, that rose apple tree, that when the apple drops, it produces enough juice to produce a river? Do you know that? Just see, that's all very high-fly understanding. How is it possible and all those sort of things. But here you have science talking about animals that existed in 10 times their size on this planet. Do you know wombats existed in like 100 times their size on this planet? They're called, I forgot what they're called. It starts with mega creatures or something like that. We readily accept that. Someone can produce some, bones and place it in the desert, and then find someone else to find it, and then we can, oh yeah, big, we accept it. But we can't accept what Bhagavatam gives us. So naturally, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we immediately absorb that knowledge. It's very satisfying for the heart. So in the same way we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam here, we can understand, Bhumi Devi, she's just giving all of this knowledge about material nature, how it's manifested. Yeah, I already know these things. Krishna is the controller. Yeah. But if we apply our intelligence, we'll understand how wonderful Krishna is. And naturally we'll want to surrender to Krishna. Right? When someone possesses opulence, we naturally gravitate towards them. We say their names, right? We say the names of famous people. Oh, did you hear what they did? Did you see what they did? You look like that person actually, Prabhu, Mataji, like that, right? Do you remember what he did, they did? You look as rich as that person. You're as famous as that person, yeah? When you read Bhagavatam, everyone else looks like insignificant creatures in comparison to Krishna. So naturally, who will you glorify? Krishna, right? So therefore, there's the hidden motive for us. You want ulterior motive in Krishna consciousness? There. Your ulterior motive, or the motive to understand the nature of the material existence, how it's created, is so that you can understand how great Krishna is, understand how Krishna has gone to the lengths of creating this material world for our benefit, and how we can develop a relationship with Krishna. Yeah? And Bhumi Devi is explaining this as the representative of Godhead has the same potency as God. Don't underestimate the spiritual master. If Krishna wants, the spiritual master can see what's happening in the disciple's heart. If Krishna wants, the spiritual master can deliver the whole world as if Krishna was there himself. Because they carry Krishna within the heart. Don't misunderstand or don't play down the position of the spiritual master. It's a privilege to be in the association of the spiritual master. We wander in this material world so long to get the association of the spiritual master. So Bhumi Devi is explaining as a representative of the spiritual master how powerful Prithu Maharaj is. Our spiritual masters have been given the potency by Krishna to deliver us from material existence. To deliver us from material existence. The greatest potency. Not even the demigods have that potency. Our spiritual masters have that potency through the grace of the Guru Parampara. So you can understand, through this you can also take seriously our Krishna consciousness. how important it is to take our spiritual masters, instructing, and those who have given us initiation also, Shiksha and Diksha Gurus. Okay, I'll end here. We're already 8:45. If there's one or two questions we can take, otherwise we finish here. Yes, Prabhu.
It's always enlightening to hear you speak. Just wondering, why did Krishna wants to destroy the material world? As such, creation and maintenance are themselves humongous tasks. If the living entities are the problem, all right, finish them all. But why the material world? What's the big idea, the reason behind it?
Material nature is temporary. Material nature is temporary. Its nature is to go through manifestation and unmanifestation. The spiritual energy, its nature is to be always existing. It's eternal. So material nature will go through these cycles because that's the nature of her existence. She is the potency of the Lord, and the Lord dictates that's how her nature is, and that's how she operates. Krishna wants to withdraw her to an innate state, an unmanifest state. That's how he wants his energy to work. Just think like this, alright? Prabhupada saying, perfect question, perfect answers. I'm reading that right now. I love that book. First book I read, I love that book. It gives you understanding of so many things in a very simple way because it's in a format of question answers. And the way Brahmatirtha Prabhu asks Prabhupada questions, you can understand Krishna consciousness in a very basic philosophy, basic level, foundational understanding of Krishna consciousness. There Prabhupada saying, to Krishna, it's his energy. To us, we see spiritual, material, all of those things. To Krishna, it's his energy. If Krishna wants, just like an electrician can change the electricity to heat or cold, Krishna can change his material to spiritual, his spiritual to material. It's his desire. So, ultimately, he wants to destroy, he wants to unmanifest, bring everything back within himself, and it stays in an inert state as Mahavishnu. That's how he wants the energy to work. The temporary nature of material existence is like that. That's how he wants to manifest it. That's his pastime. That's how he wants to do it. And coming to the point of living entities, Krishna is not impersonal. He doesn't want to destroy the living entities because they're not worshipping him. He's there lifetime after lifetime within the heart, still providing guidance. It's not that he gives guidance once and then keeps quiet, right? Sometimes we feel like that, right? You see someone doing a mistake, you don't really want to correct them, but you go and say, Prabhu, Mataji, this one, that one, and they still keep doing the mistake. You may feel like, but Krishna is not like that. He'll wait. Then opportunity comes, he'll try to give. Doesn't happen, wait. Opportunity comes, he'll try to give. That's why he's known as Suhrit. Suhrit, the best friend. He's seated in the heart lifetime after lifetime. We practically force him through the mud just for word's sake. Right? Cat, dog, hog, bird, tree. Krishna has to come with us. And he's unaffected, by the way. But he chooses to come with us. And wait. Okay, you're suffering, do this. We don't listen, wait. He says something, we ignore him, wait. In the heart, he's like that. So, we shouldn't have the conception or understanding that Krishna wants to get rid of us. If Krishna's going all the way to the extent of being with us throughout this whole material journey, I think you can understand what Krishna wants. He wants us to go home back to Godhead. So he's ready to facilitate that. Material nature will come and go for us to understand it's temporary. He wants us there in the spiritual world with him. Okay. I'll end here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.